Hi everyone, welcome to our fourth episode of Innovation Podcast. We have a wonderful guest for this evening who is a digital innovator, a strategist. He is also an author of Digital First, the first fable in digital transformation. He is the founder of Propel Inventions. Propel Inventions is a strategic growth and digital innovation firm where they help clients develop growth strategies, launch digital business initiatives, improve customer experience, and build innovation capabilities. Their strategies and designers reimagine your product and services with design and digital, and empower your customers and employees and stakeholders. In a few words, they imagine it, make it, and scale it. Our guest is also the Vice President for Digital Innovation at Revel. He has advised chairmen, managing directors, and CXOs at large traditional organizations on how to bring digital design and data to create a competitive edge. He is none other than Vamshi. Let us add him on board. Hi Vamshi,
Hey, hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Great. So nice to be here.
We are really glad to have you here.
Likewise.
Yeah. So, why did you choose to write a book that too in digital, Vamshi?
Nice, nice question. Actually, a few years before, I decided that I wanted to do something new every year. In the spirit of being a lifelong learner, I decided that I wanted to set a goal, push me out of my comfort zone, and then try to learn something valuable. For example, 4 years back, I decided that I wanted to be a certified scuba diver. I did that. Next, I ran a triathlon. Next, I ran a marathon. I'm a Vipassana meditator where I had to do like 10 days of deep meditation, disconnected from the world. In 2020, I had we all saw how the pandemic has impacted and, made everybody adopt digital like, it's no tomorrow, right? In fact, Satya Nadella was telling that 10 years of digital transformation has happened in 10 months. But one fact of the matter is 80% of digital transformations fail to deliver value. I was having an interaction with my mentor, who planted the seed. Hey, you have been in the US, helped large corporates like Microsoft and others drive digital transformation. Why don't you write a book? Which is like I never blogged, and he's asked me to write a book. Why should I write a book? Is what came to my mind. So I googled up. I saw digital transformation books. So I thought, why not write a fable in digital transformation? It's the first fable in digital transformation. So that was my goal for 20.
Fable format is very interesting. So, why did you choose to write it in that fable format?
You know, when I first wrote the first draft, it was like a management's style book, which when I look back, it was boring, it was dry, not at all interesting. I was like, it was, doing a lullaby for me. I thought digital transformation is such an exciting space. Me and my co-author have, advised so many big corporates. Like, for example, I advised chairmen, managing directors, CXOs of large traditional organizations like the leading airport operator or the leading corporate wellness company, or the mining and metals major across the globe, to edtech unicorns. So I have seen, the excitement of digital transformation. In fact, my co-author, he is an ex-Amazonian. He has was a co-founder, founding member of a couple of billion-dollar businesses. And most recently, he was driving digital strategies, one of the large telecom business. So we thought it's an exciting space. We need to make sure that we create a lot of excitement when users and the readers actually read the book. So what I thought is Fable would be really interesting. it's an interesting fusion of character going through the journey, and at the same time, we can impart some digital transformation leadership lessons, and out of which the character Neo was born, who is the lead character, the protagonist in the book. And as Neo goes through the journey, we also introduce a character called Charan. He's a mentor, and during the journey that Neo goes through, we came up with quite a few interesting insights, and we imparted all of that through the book.
So what was the journey like when you started writing a book, becoming an author? How was it?
Hey, writing is not easy, huh? I
That's
struggled
the
to I actually struggled to write a LinkedIn post. That was like pre 2021, before writing the book. It's really hard to actually put everything on the paper. Management book is okay, but Fable is a different challenge altogether. So what for me is I read a book called Everybody Writes, and that was very encouraging that the title itself is encouraging. Everybody writes, so I'm also one of the everybody. So I read the book and I started writing. The first draft. It's often called as the ugly first draft. All you have to do is just keep downloading all the content from your head, no judgment, nothing. Put everything on the paper, and thankfully, I brought in a lot of personal experiences driving digital transformation, in the US here. So that helped me piece all the different, plots, situations, typically somebody would go through, right? So as a chief digital officer, you would, perhaps have unreasonable boss, crazy schedules, lack of budget, non-cooperative colleagues. Things are just not working. So these are the usual challenges that chief digital officers would go through, and I've seen that firsthand. In fact, my co-author also has seen that. The other thing that worked really well is my co-author is a bachelor's in English, and he has written. So that helped me a lot, and he brought in the hero's journey, and he also brought in the characterization of Star Wars, Darth Vader. There is an antagonist in the book, Sam, and we try to bring in the characteristics of Darth Vader. So that helped a lot. It was quite an interesting journey, if you ask me. But during that process of Neo going through that, basically the plot is Neo is a startup founder. He got fired from his own company. The only opportunity that he has is picking up a chief digital officer role at a large traditional organization. He has to fix his marriage, he has to fix his job, and he has to create a future. And during that process, we try to make sure that he goes through some realizations, which we call it as the 6 digital first realizations. And we used Neo and Charan as the mouthpiece for us, authors Shahrul and me, to tell what's most important during digital transformation.
I think a lot of our future chief innovation officers would find this book relatable or something which we all could learn from. And also
Yeah.
the pattern in which you might have written it. It sounds really interesting from what even I read, like the starting few pages of your book from the link. So
In,
it was really nice.
in fact,
Yeah.
in fact, I'll tell you what. I took inspiration from the TV series that we see, right? People, the way it is created is at the end of the episode, you want to see the next episode.
The next
Uh,
episode, yeah.
so binge watching, right? So, which is what I try to do. At the end of every chapter, I try to make sure that I leave a seed of thought, which the reader would say, okay, what's going to happen next? I want to read the next page. Like that, it keeps them hooked. Pretty happy to say that the beta readers of the book, senior leaders of large establishments, they said that they couldn't put the book down. And one beta reader, who was a managing director of a global bank, he finished it in one go. At around 10 o'clock in the night, he said that, hey, I picked up the book. I'll read it. I'll share some thoughts tomorrow. And the tomorrow was in fact at 2 a.m., where he sent a message saying that I read the book completely in one shot. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
I think that's how hooked up the audience would be reading the book.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, so you said you had a few realizations. What were the realizations you had while writing like going through the journey and writing it up?
So the realizations are for the lead character that we try to share it in a way that it's not like preached by somebody. It is actually a self-realization for the lead character in the plot, in the fable. So these six digital first realizations is what I call them. These realizations are extremely important for making digital transformation successful. So the first digital first realization is purpose. Just like human, you and me, companies also have soul. They have a purpose of why they exist, and it becomes very important to determine why does a company exist. Like for example, Microsoft has discovered again through Satya Nadella's leadership. What is their purpose, right? So that's the first digital first realization. The second one is dichotomy of digital. So, what I mean by that is there is core business, there is new business models. So, digital can help in both areas. For example, if there is a kitchen appliances manufacturer, if they are trying to digitize and their appliances through making it smart, Wi-Fi connected, all of that, that is digitizing the core business, and perhaps they also wanted to digitize the supply chain, right? So that is on the core business. What becomes very important is creating new digital business models so that you can move up or downstream the value chain of the customers you serve. For example, in this kitchen appliances case, if kitchen appliances, you don't just buy it and keep it in the kitchen, right? So you actually plan the meals, you look at the recipe, you buy missing ingredients of groceries. What if this kitchen appliance manufacturer creates partnerships with, let's say, Swiggy Genie or for or maybe meal recipe related providers, so that the customer knows what recipes are possible with the kitchen appliances, find out what ingredients need to be bought, and buy it through Genie. So this digital business model is the dichotomy of the digital has to be balanced: core business versus innovating new digital business models. So that's the second one. The third one, very important, is the real measures. Most of the time, what happens is, when you think about a new initiative, put it across before the senior executives, they'll say, "What is the ROI for this?" That people hearing, it's not just the ROI. You have to go beyond the return on investment. You have to look at, what I just said. How much are you digitizing the core business? How much are you exploring the new business models? That is one. You also need to see how fast you are going in terms of innovating new business models. So the speed to market. So these are actually the real measures. And the fourth one is the innovation pods. What I call innovation pods is like autonomous, small, multidisciplinary teams who are customer obsessed, just like a mini startup, who can go from an idea to the market very fast. Fifth digital first realization is the digital innovation approach, which is basically bring in design thinking, frame the challenge, know your customer using design thinking techniques, and then you actually ideate to solve the right problems. Then you create a cover story, which is like go fast forward into the future and write that cover story, just like Amazon press release, but a better version of that. And the last one is creating service blueprint. Now, at any given point in time, you might be having multiple teams driving different digital initiatives, right? So it becomes very important to actually have a digital governance model, which is the sixth digital first realization. Basically, the goal of this governance structure is to remove the blockers for this innovation part so that they can accelerate and go fast. These are the six digital first realizations, which are very, very important. If we get this right, the digital transformation probability of success will be very high.
Really nice. I mean, you told those realizations in such a brief context, and I'm really happy to know, service blueprint plays such an important role when it comes
Absolutely.
down to Seriously, like even we've been doing a lot of design thinking, customer journey, and then we learned about service design and how, impactful it becomes to actually lay out the service of things. And then when you said, you have to do it on a bigger scale where, the last realization where you are trying to remove the blockages. I think,
Blockers. Mhm.
yeah, blockers, so that, everything goes functionally. So I think this is really, really nice for us also to inculcate few of the things which we can, as a starting designers and innovators, to implement
Yeah,
in our journey.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, Vamshi, coming to innovation, in terms of installing an innovation culture in an organization, how would you go forward to it? What would be your way?
This is a culture is a very important thing. Huh? It's a culture, eats strategy for breakfast. And one of the important things that people don't realize is culture is not something that you write something and put it on the wall. It is created and contributed by the people, and it is driven by the top leadership. The top leadership play an extremely important role. The tone that the top leadership sets is very critical. And why it is important, more than ever before, is if you look at Fortune 100 companies list, a decade before, and the same list, today, majority of the companies that were in that list a decade before are no longer part of, today's list, and that's
Yeah.
because did not embrace the culture of innovation really fast. So there are a number of ideas that we actually implemented in at our clients before and are part of the book as well. A few examples that I can share is focus on the top 50 leadership or top 100 leadership. Have them go through a transformation boot camp of sorts. Reverse mentoring is the other thing that we introduced, where in the innovation pods are led by a human-centric product manager. The innovation
Okay.
pod, the product manager will actually act as a co-pilot with one of the top leadership, so that there is reverse mentorship happening between them. And there are a number of other ideas that we came up with. For example, Digital Resilience Award, where failures are equally celebrated as much as successes. So all of these things have to come together, and it is not like a silver bullet, Shivam. You will have to do
Yeah.
persistent effort, and I feel very confident that the six digital first realizations would set the stage, and persistent efforts set the stage for this culture of innovation.
Nice. So, what were your strategies while overcoming the resistance from the, decision makers in the organization? How would you approach that?
Change is the only thing that is constant, right? So
Yeah.
whenever there is a new thing, and that would be the case for during the digital first journey, there will be resistance, mainly from people who are used to old habits which die hard, right? So one of the things that work really well is to lead by example, right? So starting small, focused effort, forward thinking team, let them get the autonomy, let them experiment, fail fast, fail forward, let the results actually show to the world that this new approach actually works. And once you have that, once you address the top leadership, that culture transformation, I think with the digital governance model, which is a sixth digital first realization, we actually sure that we embrace change and make sure that there is less resistance.
Yeah. We have a question popping up on our DMs that says, "What's your next goal after being an author?" Like, just of the random, yeah. So, what's your next goal for after being a author?
Oh, the next goal as part of the lifelong learning, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So my sincere goal is to actually cumulatively swim for 150 kilometers throughout the year, swim 150 kilometers, and cycle 1,500 kilometers. So I'm well on my way for that. So 4 days I actually cycle for 10K every day and 1 kilometer of swimming. So that is what I'm,
Yeah.
it's.
I think I should come for mentorship for fitness goals and all.
See, I think it's like a forcing function.
Yeah.
Once you have this goal, I have like a grit. I don't want to give up, and I wanted to break my own PR, and that actually keeps me moving.
That's really interesting and worth giving a thought of and inculcating in our lifestyle. I mean, we as young generations are also trying to cope up and be every place possible. Like try to be fit, try to be organized, but kind of we find it difficult. And you being at this stage, you're still pushing your limits. I think that's really inspiring.
Yeah, thank you.
So, what according to you is the role of design and innovation and digital transformation?
So I would say that design and innovation are fundamental to the success of digital transformation. If you actually think about it, digital is an enabler to achieve business strategy. And a business strategy and digital could be, one, digital could be used to create new, business models powered by digital. Number two, you can reimagine customer experience. And number
Hmm.
three is improve productivity, which is basically, help the employees to do more for less. If you actually think about it, there is a user at the center of everything that we do, right?
Yeah.
That is where it's important, like you mentioned, service blueprint, right? So, user experience designers, very important. Visual designers, you actually make sure that all the things that you package on a digital continuum, it's actually resonating with the end user, human being, right? And
Yeah.
service design, it actually plays even more important role because the human computer interaction and the journey becomes very critical. So all of this are the foundation for the success of digital transformation.
So I've been looking for a lot of opportunities which comes on like this is a personal one because I've been seeing like the lines between product and service are blurring at this time,
Yeah.
but we still
Yeah.
don't see that many opportunities in terms of service designers. Like it's a very genuine one which I've been trying to find out the reason behind it. I mean, as a country, because when we go do a research or we see things what's going on in the market in terms of service design, it's not been so upfront in terms of in the normal companies. So what's the difference? Like, do you think we still, as a country, need some time to come up to a level where product design and service design would come to the same level? Because a lot of people do the same stuff, but they don't actually recognize it as service blueprint, right? Like service design. So, what's your thought on this?
So here is the thing, right? So service design as a capability is not something that would carve out separately as a UX design or a visual design, right?
Hmm.
So if you ask me, service design is part of the UX design because you need to look at the journey of the user as they are trying to, address a specific jobs to be done that they have. And during
Hmm.
the process, they would be interacting, with different elements, whether it is different form factors or, non-digital form factors. And that is where service design comes into picture. And when you actually try to layer it down before the line of visibility and after the line of visibility, that is where the
Hmm.
service design will be extremely helpful. And that is one of the steps of the digital innovation approach that we highlighted in Digital First, mainly because it brings everybody, the people at different levels, different business units who are siloed, brings everybody together on the same page in terms of what is the interaction for the customer and who are, actually operating behind the screens on a line of visibility side. So the importance of service design will grow up, but not necessarily as a separate capability. The designers
Hmm.
themselves have a service design capability as well.
Yeah, I think you've answered it very well because it's been bothering me like seeing the scenes and even I was thinking that it could come out as a separate entity and a lot of things would change as because previously when you go to the case studies and you see the new like there were not a lot of UX acceptance in the past decade or so and then now you see there's a boom of user experience designers or there's
Yeah,
a lot of demand in the Indian market. Yeah,
yeah.
so that's really nice. So how do you make the connection between design, business, and digital technology? How do you go for it?
That's a very important point that you raised. Design, business, and technology. If
Yeah,
you actually think about it, design is what customer actually wants.
yeah,
Technology is what is possible based on what customer wants. Digital, and then the business is whether we should do it. I'll give you an example.
mm,
Let's say 5 years back, I'm sitting in my balcony, and it's raining. I feel like having a hot coffee, right? So I want coffee in the next 5 minutes. I don't know. You bring drones, you bring rockets, doesn't matter. That is what the customer is desiring, right?
mm,
So 5 years before, drone technology was not there, but today it is quite possible, right? So technologically, it is possible. The customer is
yeah,
desiring hot
mm,
coffee. Technologically, it is possible, but does it make economic sense to actually deliver the
mm,
coffee within 5 minutes? So that is what is very important. So if you express these three in the form of circles, desirability, which is design, business, and then technology, the overlap of what customer desires, what is possible, and what we can deliver economically, that is
yeah.
where innovation happens. And I would like to add one more area, which is human centric purpose. That is a fourth circle. So the overlap of all these four circles is a sweet spot for growth.
We at Innovation Design, MIT Innovation Design Program, even we had got the same idea of what innovation was. The whole from starting off like the bigger spectrum of business design, technologies, and humanities, like human centric,
Mhm.
or you stated. I think that's what made us go through all these different aspects of learning. And that's the same kind of stuff we've been learning and we've been striving to learn from. And it coming from a guy who's been in the industry from so long and has written a book. I think this is how we also validate our learnings, going through the same way.
Cool. Yeah, yeah,
Thank
I'm a big believer in that. Yeah.
thank you so much, Vamshi, for being here. Uh, Also, I would like to thank from our MIT team who were here, and we are glad to have you here. It was an immense pleasure you being here in the forum. I think a lot of our viewers would have found this conversation really thought interesting and thought provoking, and also that there were a lot of learnings, not just as a host but as a learner or as an aspirant. I've been like amazed to have this conversation. I think we would love to have you on a regular basis on this talk, not in terms of just the live podcast, but also in our classes, where we try to learn what you have been learning through your journey. So thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Vamshi. And
Thanks.
thank
Take
you
care.
everyone for staying tuned. We'll be back again next Friday.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah.